as an MSP, it's if a customer's coming to you with a new requirement, one that wasn't there when you initially brought them on, or one that that wasn't quite clearly defined when they first brought you on, it's not the responsibility of the MSP to make the current product stack fit inside of that requirement. And when I say that, I mean you're doing a disservice to your customer and also to your business at the same time if you're trying to justify why whatever it was that they have implemented fits that requirement. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that whatever they have does or doesn't, I mean. So like, maybe they have an endpoint security solution and it meets a requirement for determining system intrusion, right? Maybe they have a perimeter defense solution, a firewall product, and it's going to meet the requirements for decrypt and scan or DPI SSL, right? And that's okay. But I'm saying don't try and force it. If it doesn't meet that requirement, we're on the honest track, right? We're already trusted by the customer. Then we need to be honest back to the customer about what they don't have in place, and then talk about that overlay. What is the overlay, right? Like we need to add some kind of GRC solution in. We need to bring in this company to help with the compliance aspect. We need somebody to help write the system security plan. Whatever it is that you as a company can provide, right? As long as you have the resources to do it, or bring in somebody who specializes in that to have them actually help you, and you could resell that product as your company. Or alternatively, just say, hey, here's a vendor that I work with and I want to bring them in to help with this stuff. It doesn't lose the trust relationship you have with the customer because you're still the primary person. You're the person they came to at the very beginning and said, hey, I don't know how to do this. So you don't want to lose that trust relationship. And so when you get the compliance manager, that's where it's really weird, because you could build this amazing trust relationship with a client, and with one audit, you could burn it to the ground.
What I hear all the time is from partners that they want to tell the customer they're already safe. They're scared. They're scared of their livelihood, right? That they have to tell the customer, you don't meet this requirement. I frequently hear partners who think that despite the fact that the customer's coming with the hardest question they've ever asked their provider, right? That they think that customer will definitely not buy anything. And they desperately need this customer to pass an audit because they're maybe a little bit unhappy. They've been complaining about their bills. They didn't want to buy whatever sexy security upgrade from last month. And so they just, they say yes, 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 right? And I hear what you're saying. It's just be honest, right? I think some providers maybe aren't honest with themselves, maybe are afraid of telling a customer, yeah, there's no way you're compliant with this thing. You need to pay us more money.
When a client is coming on to your company and you're looking at them, you need to say, well, what industry are they in and what compliance frameworks or what requirements may they have from a regulatory standpoint, right? And present those early on and ask the customer, are they aware of those, right? And do they know that could potentially be something down the road that they need to adhere to if they're not? So that way, at least you started the conversation at the very beginning, right? When it's an existing client, it's a little bit harder. An existing client, because you've already got them and maybe you haven't done that in your sales process in the past, I would definitely set up meetings and start having those conversations and say, hey, I know we haven't talked about this in the past, but this may be coming down the pipe and you may have to adhere to this. If you can, to the best of your ability from a human capital standpoint, try not to get to the point where your client's calling you to tell you they need something, because it makes it a lot harder to have the conversation. But when they do come to you and tell you they need something, going back to what Charles is saying, the same thing. Don't be afraid to tell them. And it's going to be hard. And in some cases, you may have to answer a questionnaire, and they may say, does whatever I have meet this requirement? And you can put in there, yes, but, right? Like caveat it. Yes, it does meet it at a minimum, but here's why I do believe this. Because the questionnaire you're sending, you shouldn't be sending a questionnaire back to some insurance company. The questionnaire should go back to the client. They can determine what they want to answer it with, right? You're giving them your response to be able to build their response. So